you can't come in her, come on her. Yeah! Born in the USA! Go ahead, baby. 6'5". Hey, me, Ma.
First of all, there's no such thing as whiteface, but Druski is hilarious. Hilarious. 10 toes down, hilarious. Although I will say, the moment that he spit at that black guy and was talking to him that kind of way, I felt something riled up in me, but like, ooh, it's a skit, April. It's a skit. I had to remind myself because, like, for a second, because it was so real. Who is the makeup artist? First of all, who is the makeup artist? Come to front center. I am a makeup artist. This is my salon. I need a class. I think I could do, no, I don't know if I can do that. The tan lines though, like I need a class, like hilarious.
So I'm sure you've heard by now that Druski, the comedian, recently has come under a lot of scrutiny because of, he portrayed a NASCAR white individual, right? And a lot of white people are calling this whiteface. And, you know, what I find rather interesting is, a lot of the comments is saying, oh, how would black people like it if this was the other way around? And I'm thinking, what on earth are you talking about? This is the other way around, right? White people can't now claim, how would you like it if this was the other way around? Bearing in mind, white people started blackface first. So in actual reality, this is the other way around. Right? I mean, that just made me laugh. And personally, I would say this. There's a fundamental difference between what white people were doing back in the day as what we call today blackface and what Druski's doing. Because if you didn't know who Druski actually was as a person, you would have thought that white character was actually a real person. You know, if you didn't know Druski, you would think that's a real person. Yet back in the day, blackface, there was no one that would have looked at a white person doing blackface and say, oh, that's an actual black person.
To the makeup artist that did Druski's whiteface makeup attire, you deserve an award for this. So let me just tell y'all, when I first saw that video of Druski dressing up as whiteface and he was with the country folks at the, I don't know where he was at. I don't know what area he was at. But when I very first saw that video, I was like, who the hell is that? I'm like, he looked familiar. And then my husband was like, babe, that's Druski. So I looked at him again. I'm like, when I tell you, whoever did that, you deserve an award, because how Druski was actually dressed up as the white face, it just shows that everything detailed, everything is true up into the T. I mean, he was unrecognizable, I must say. So, but I also see that they said the white folks are now mad and calling him racist, but at the same time, I know it's actually true. When I see Druski do something like this is what he does. I mean, he is funny as hell, especially when he had this thing called Could Have Been Records when he was on YouTube. And then, you know, he does different skits and stuff like that. And he actually recently did a ghetto whiteface version when he was actually in the hood with the black folks. And they had no problem with that. But when he actually took it down to the country, the makeup was like he had sunburns and all of that, actually making them mad. But I'm mad and calling him racist because I know this is what y'all do and it's actually true. This is nothing but typical Druski. I mean, you don't know what he got up his sleeve, what he's going to do next. So that's kind of a good comedian that he actually is, because he is funny as hell. I do love him. But for him to piss off a lot of folks like that, what y'all getting mad for? Because you already know how he portrayed y'all. That's exactly what it is. So don't be calling that man racist, because if y'all do the blackface, it's all good. But now when someone come and act like y'all, now all of a sudden, now it's a problem. So if you actually seen what Druski had on, did the whole white face with the country folks, leave a comment below and tell me how you feel about it.
Oh my god, Druski whiteface. It's so offensive. Imagine if the roles were reversed. Do you know how silly you sound? Because the roles have been reversed. For over 200 years, they've been reversed. And in this day and age where you have the grasp of the internet at your fingertips, where you can find the answer to your ignorant question in about 5 seconds. Blackface is a historical practice that dates back 200 years, if not even further. And it's not just about painting a different skin colour. Blackface was a practice where white people would paint their face black to mock black people, for the pure entertainment of other white people. This picture behind me is a photo of the Canadian Prime Minister with his Aladdin costume on. A Prime Minister. Do I really need to say more? Also, don't try and play the card that this was years ago, because these are a pair of shoes that Katy Perry released only a couple of years ago, and she only stopped selling them because people started to complain. Now answer me this, did Druski go and paint his face white to stand in a room with other people of colour to go and mock white people for their pure amusement and entertainment? No. And to the people who still want to try and claim that white-facing is a real thing and is racist, you are the same exact people who would probably laugh at someone doing blackface. And if this still isn't enough for you to comprehend, then go complain to your ancestors, because they're the one who set this system up.
And I mentioned that he's black because the fact that he's black is relevant to the story, as we'll see. He has a million, viral comedy skits that you see circulating on social media constantly. And some of his stuff is pretty funny, I think. But in this case, the premise of the skit, the caption that Druski put on it says, "That guy who's just proud to be American." And then in the skit, he's wearing not just white face, but white body. He's painted his whole body to look white. He's even managed to make his body look white and sunburned. So in some ways, the makeup effects in this skit, I will say, are kind of impressive. But so this is supposed to be an impression of a white guy, replete with the white body paint. And here it is. So not Druski's best work, I'll say that. And before we get to the white face, the impression isn't funny. It's not a funny bit. I'm not saying that because I'm offended or whatever. It's just not very funny. And it isn't funny because it isn't well observed. It isn't accurate. Okay, he's trying to do redneck, but he's obviously never been around rednecks. I mean, he thinks that, rednecks are Bruce Springsteen fans, for one thing. I tell you, Druski, not a lot of redneck Springsteen fans out there in the year 2025. I got to tell you. You walk in with around a bunch of rednecks and say, "Hey, how about that Bruce Springsteen, huh? What do you guys think?" Not a lot of Bruce Springsteen fans. But that's he thinks rednecks are Bruce Springsteen fans. He thinks they're vulgar and racist. So that's the entirety of the impression. Rednecks are vulgar, racist Springsteen fans. That's all he's got. And it couldn't be more off base. And that's not a huge surprise this is a black guy from Columbia, Maryland, so he doesn't have a great read on white country folk. But this was lame, even with those low expectations. And I say this again as someone who generally finds his stuff amusing. One thing about doing an impression, this is something that I think Norm Macdonald talked about, is that to do an impression well, you have to not only have familiarity with the subject of your impression, but also you have to have some affection for the subject or the type of person that you're impersonating. There has to be some warmth, some affection in the impression, or else it's just kind of low effort mimicry, right? The worst impressions are angry. You can tell the person hates whoever they're doing the impression of. This is why Alec Baldwin's Trump impression, I think, goes down in history as the worst impression of all time. Certainly the worst in the history of SNL, and there have been some really bad ones, so that's saying something. But Baldwin just hated Trump, and you could tell that he was seething. It was like this seething, dark, angry impression, and it wasn't funny. It was uncomfortable.
Also, if you want such stories and more, please don't forget to share this video,
like and subscribe.
See you in the next video.